Hello, PowerHouse SMART friends and colleagues. Here we are on our 12th episode of the PowerHouse Cool Collabs podcast. Just as a reminder, this podcast was really created for me to be able to share the amazing people I have in my network with all of you and to bring out some of the highlights of that awesome guest as far as their story. And it'll be interesting for all of you to meet our guest today and then how they collaborate in our industry, because that's what we're all about, is creating amazing collaborations. And then I always want to hear about living with an attitude of gratitude and giving back to help humanity. So without further ado, I'm so excited to introduce, actually, I'm going to let her introduce herself, my dear colleague and friend, Vicki Bachman, Vice President of Partnerships at Matter, capital MATTER, and you're going to see the link below. So without further ado, my friend Vicki, please share with us, introduce yourself, tell your story.
Oh, thank you, Wendy, and thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to talk with you and your friends today. I have had the pleasure throughout my life of having a variety of jobs in the for-profit sector and the not-for-profit sector. I would say the thing that threads all of those jobs together is that I get to network with lots of people. So I've been in sales roles, and I've been in volunteer roles, and I've been in leadership roles in nonprofit boards. And most recently, I had the opportunity to think about how I really wanted to engage professionally in my next role. And I lucked out when I found Matter as the next organization, and the one that I've been with now for almost 5 years, where I am working to advance business and healthcare partnerships to find creative ways for people that we network with, find creative ways for them to engage with our organization.
Well, I love that you feel like you phrase it as you've lucked out. But to be quite honest with you, Vicki, everybody lucked out. You lucked out, they lucked out, and people like me who get connected to you, and I know it's all about relationships for you, as you just said, feel like they won the lottery. They met you, and it's just like I get the goosebumps. It's just such a good feeling. So, prior to coming to Matter, share with me a little bit about your history.
Well, professionally, you mean? Yeah, so prior to coming to Matter, my immediate role prior, I have been in the wine business before. So I moved to Minneapolis to open a new wine bar concept in the city of Minneapolis. I partnered with a couple of people who own a winery, boutique winery in California, and they had the idea of having a new concept. So I worked from soup to nuts to build that business. And prior to that, I was in corporate sales, and also have been in held leadership positions in the Garden Club of America Club in Dayton, Ohio, for example, and also the Women's Board of Dayton Children's Medical Center. So I have in my heart, I like to find time to give back when I can.
Yeah, no, that's great. So I love how you interwove the hospitality with outdoor living along with giving back always. And so that makes you a really, awesome vice president of what you're currently doing, because obviously you've connected with a lot of people and you're continuing to build those relationships. So one of the ways that I always recommend our, community that's listening to this is to be open-minded and to always meet people, even if you don't know that something might come out of it, meaning, oh, I don't know why I would talk to that person. They're not necessarily somebody that's my client. And that's how you and I met, right? Elizabeth Cohen reached out to you. You didn't know who PowerHouse SMART was. You had no idea who I was. And you were so open-minded. Our first luxury conference in Minnesota, you were like, yes, I'll be your partner. And I thought, oh my gosh, a very high integrity Matter nonprofit is now going to help us build this community in Minnesota. And the leap of faith. So, how did that all come about? Share with me what Elizabeth said to you and how you just like, yes, no problem, Wendy.
Right, right. It's sort of, I would say it's how I like to lead my life. I like to take the opportunity to meet people in all different realms, in all different businesses. Speaking back on the wide variety of roles that I've had over the years, somebody alluded it to being a Swiss Army knife in a job role, because I just have had many different jobs over the years and have been able to learn and internalize what the people are like in working in all those roles. And so all this time really has led me to feel very lucky to meet people of all different from all different walks of life. So when I have the chance to network, I really jump in. I like to walk into a room of strangers and walk out with someone who I can call a friend, or someone who I think I can either network with and help at Matter, or just connect them in other ways to help them in their businesses and in their paths in life. So I just find it a privilege to have the opportunity to meet people, and it has really paid off in terms of the gratitude that I feel in my life with the people that I'm surrounded with now.
Yes, and I'm so thrilled that Elizabeth thought to reach out to you. And then you and I had some Zoom meetings prior, and I was so excited to learn about all the things that Matter was doing, both locally and then nationally and now internationally. And then we met face to face at the first Minnesota Luxury Conference, and you were so sweet. You're like, how can I help? And I'm like, wow, she knows that this is just grassroots people running this conference, and you went there and you helped me set up the tables. And I just wanted to wrap my arms around you and say, sister, we got something going on here. Let's make this happen. And look where it's gone now. 2-3 years, you've been a partner, a nonprofit. We love giving back to you through whatever ways that we can make our community, if it's fundraising or a raffle or whatever, or even bringing people to your events, just brand awareness. We love that. And now it goes full circle. We've had events in Chicago with Matter. I've talked about Matter in Naples, Southwest Florida. Of course, you're still part of Minnesota and everything we're doing in Minnesota, and the events are only increasing. But you came to me with an idea, and we're going to Africa together. So share with everybody what that's going to be. And I'm so excited.
I am too. I am too. Well, I would say just first, when you recap the things that we've done together, I applaud PowerHouse SMART and the leadership behind it, Wendy, for the what you guys are trying to do in your organization. It has been a really nice way to work together. You think creatively, and you think of ways to bring Matter into the various events that you're organizing throughout the year. So I appreciate that. You make it very easy to work with, and I thank you very much for that. But about a year ago, I came to Wendy with the idea of offering an insight trip that would be powered by PowerHouse SMART. So Matter hosts insight trips to Zimbabwe, where we do a lot of work. We do a lot of very deep and broad work in the education field, in healthcare field, and in agriculture. And we take people on these insight trips to expose them to a life outside of America, a life that's very different than what we know, where there's a group of very happy and satisfied people who have nothing. And it's really satisfying to be able to help them. So when after I got to know Wendy, I thought it would be really fun to offer this trip to members of PowerHouse SMART, to bring them to Zimbabwe and tour the various areas that Matter is doing deep and impactful work. And then we're tacking on a safari to it at the same time. And we're going to visit the Victoria Falls, which is one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. And we are really excited in August to be taking this trip together.
Yeah, this is so awesome. So full circle, and it's not the end, it's just the beginning. I've always wanted to do a retreat with our PowerHouse Smart members, and we have done some, but never as far as Zimbabwe or Africa. And the PowerHouse Smart members that are going, and it is a boutique event. It's obviously not open we can't have huge numbers. And we're going in August 7th through the 10th, correct? Yeah. And
2nd through the 10th.
Yeah, and everybody, this is, not a profit center for PowerHouse Smart or Matter. All of the funds go so Matter can coordinate everything. And I asked you, how does Matter afford to have these trips? Because it is, even though it's still not an inexpensive trip for an individual, it's, a good value, and you're getting so much for your money. How do you afford to do these trips? I'm just curious.
We're fortunate to be working with a man named Blessing who lives in Zimbabwe. He is from the country and he is committed to bringing people to the country to help build the economy and help build exposure around the wonderful people that are there. And so he is our travel partner and he takes care of all the arrangements. And he is really focused on building up his country. And he says that every time a person comes to the country, it creates 7 jobs. So part of that is about job creation. The one thing that he has helped me coordinate that we're going to be doing specially for the PowerHouse SMART group is a couple of our projects have some architectural integrity and interest. We have built a career readiness center for our education initiative that was designed by a South African architect, and it's a beautiful facility. So we are going to have a special panel discussion at that facility with some interior designers and builders and other people that are in the design field that will be able to benefit from hearing from the American viewpoint of what this industry is like, and also our attendees from America will be able to hear about what this industry is like on a grassroots level from a Zimbabwean perspective.
I love that. And of course, it is a business trip, but it does have that ability to also have some fun entertainment aspect of the visiting the safari and all the amazing animals. But it's also a learning opportunity and a networking opportunity. And I'm sure that myself and my husband, who will be attending, that we're going to get so turned on by all the things that you guys are doing there that we're going to be your next. Oh, can we do this? Can we add a segment to Matters philanthropic endeavors and create this and create that? And is that how you've done the different projects that you've done across the United States?
Yes, in a lot of ways, it is what we've done. Matter is a different type of charity in that we don't really have a traditional non-profit development plan of operation like you would know that it happens at other nonprofits. And we do know that when we take people to Zimbabwe, for example, and see on the ground firsthand what's happening there, that we know that it empowers people as individuals to either choose that they want to help something that's happening at Matter. But for me personally, it's more about going to a place like that that's so different and experiencing it and thinking, then reflecting on how you view the world after you've been to a place like this and how you view yourself in it. So whether or not you end up helping Matter, you might come back a changed person and just think differently about the value of the really amazing things that we have in our country, but also think differently about how you might help those around you in your own special way.
Yeah, no, I'm so excited. I can't wait. That's so beautiful the way you said that, Vicki. So although this is a commutable podcast, there's a couple things I always like to make sure we weave in the thread. And one, you are one of the coolest leaders I know. I just love how you're so open-minded, and just everything you're doing is so beautiful. Two, just the fact that you're collaborating with all different types of industries, and you bring those collaborations to us and to everybody that gets to meet you, which is outstanding. And then third, living with an attitude of gratitude. You couldn't possibly be the vice president of partnerships if you didn't live with an attitude of gratitude. So I'm going to end this podcast in just a minute or so. I'm going to ask you a question that I like to ask all of my guests, which is, what's your definition of a well-lived life, Vicki?
Mm. Thanks for asking that. I the first thing that comes to my mind about a life well lived is to know that I have engaged with people and I have helped people around me. I've surrounded people with love. And when I come to my final day, I want to know that I don't have any regrets. So if I have lived a life fully and I've lived it well, then I will feel satisfied and I will not have any regrets as I get older.
No regrets. That's right. And just wake up every morning and so blessed to be able to have you in my life and to have this, beautiful community and continue to be able to make a difference in the lives of others, which is what you do every day, Vicki.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So before we depart, I want everyone to know that you really need to take a moment and go to Matter's website. So the link is below. Learn about just there's a huge array of things that Matter is doing, both in feeding hungry individuals, helping with medical supplies, education. There's some foundation work through Matter Pro. They started you were part of a basketball team in Africa, the first one that actually went to the Olympics. I mean, just I can go on and on. Tech centers, just amazing. So, like Vicki had said, this is not your typical nonprofit that, hey, we focus on this and this is, what we do, and it's real easy to define that. There are so many ways you can get involved. And even though there are corporate offices in Minnesota, their reach is way farther internationally. So that's number one. Number two, if you're interested in our Africa trip, I think we're pretty much booked, but there is talk to me, talk to Vicki. And actually, you're having an event. I think it's sold out already at your corporate office in St. Louis Park, which is and you're flying in a few folks from Africa, and you're going to be sharing some of the stories. So I hope there's some kind of video clips. Is that coming up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so we are going to be hosting our third annual Africa Stories live event in the end of April. It's on April 29th. We are it's a free event, so I want to say it's almost sold out, but it's not quite full yet. So if you are in the local area, we would love to have you attend. We are going to be featuring highlights and updates on several of our deep projects that we're doing in Africa. Blessing, our travel partner, who is also very engaged in a lot of the other projects that we do, will be present. He's coming. And then we have Simba coming, who is launching or has launched an incredible new bakery business. He's a Zimbabwean man who's taken advantage of one of the Matter loans through our loan program. And he comes from, even though he's from Zimbabwe, he's traveled the world and worked the world at Four Seasons, and he's an incredibly talented baker. And so he is going to be present as well to talk about the successes that he's had through the loan program with Matter. And then a few other little fun surprises. So we'd love to have you come and reach out to me if you're interested, and be happy to get you on the guest list.
Yes, and the direct contact for Vicki will be in the links below. And then, of course, PowerHouse SMART. We started a partnership a couple of years ago. We believe in long-term relationships, continuously giving back and growing and building synergies. So you're going to find that we'll stay very close with Matter and everything we're doing in Minnesota and actually in Chicago too. So, Vicki, my heart is so overly joyed to have you in my life. Thank you again for taking your time to be part of our podcast today. So excited to be traveling with you, buddy.
Thank you. Me too, Wendy. It's an honor and a pleasure, and great to meet the group. So,
okay, thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time.